Welcome to Full Scope, a podcast designed to analyze the games that we love, headlines of music, and the movies we can't forget. I'm host Winter Burns, and my counterpart Savon Morris. How's it going, man?
It's going. It's going, man. I'm good. How's everything?
Yeah, man. Going good, bro. Definitely have a lot of topics to get into as usual. And for this episode, we're going to get into thoughts on the Errol Spence and Terrence Crawford mega fight coming up. Also, some album reviews in the second half. We're going to do a review of the new Mission Impossible movie, Dead Reckoning Part 1. Just start off with just thoughts on the Errol Spence and Terrence Crawford fight. And, these two are going to fight July 29th in Las Vegas. This is the fight for Spence's WBC, WBA, and IBF titles. And this is both their first appearance in the ring this year. Obviously, they've got a combined record of 67-0. Their record speaks for them for itself. What are your thoughts on this mega fight about to happen, and also just the fact that this is their first time meeting, stepping into the ring for this calendar year?
There's been a lot of talk for a while. Bud wanted Errol Spence Jr. Obviously, he got the multiple belts, and I've been looking at these behind the fight pass and learning more about the fighters, where they're from, and all access, and just thinking like Errol Spence Jr. saying like, I was the reason why this fight is happening, because I want you now. I want to shut you up like I shut every other opponent that I've had in the past 4 or 5 years. And just looking at both of those fighters, they match up pretty well. And I think it's going to come down to who can get into the fire and adjust quicker. And I think it's going to be similar to Gervonta Davis and Ryan Garcia fight. How we knew coming in, Gervonta Davis had that upper hand on him, because he knows he kind of dips and not, shelter himself when he throws the left hook. And I believe Errol Spence Jr. will be the one who puts himself in the fire and figures it out and then adjusts really quickly. He's going to knock Bud out. But I do think this is going to be a great fight. It's good for boxing. The only thing now is, after this fight, great for boxing. After this fight is done, I'm thinking like, what's next? Because I don't want boxing to fizzle out, because now they're getting all these big fights that we want, and now it's not going to be the same. The fighter's not going to be the same after a loss. I don't think Ryan Garcia is the same after he lost to Gervonta Davis. So who will he fight? Will it be a matchup? Would it be a Canelo and Triple G effect? Would they try to go 3? But I don't know. I do think Errol Spence Jr. is going to win this fight. Eighth, ninth round, he'll figure it out. He's going to knock Bud out.
Yeah, and that was another question I had about it, because the fact that these guys are so prolific, they're elite at what they do. They have that type of power. It's very interesting to see like how can this extend? Will it be one of those fights that goes to a decision, or is it going to be one of those fights that ends like earlier? And like you said, you think it's going to end eighth or ninth round. Marvin Hagler and Tommy Hearns, like they had only 3 rounds. It was one of the greatest fights ever, but it was like power packed.
Yeah.
Like, do you think it's just one of those just natural occurrences when you have 2 guys like this that are just so prolific at what they do? It's just bound to end before the decision.
Oh, for sure. This is one of the mega fights people were looking for. They've been talking about it for a couple of years. They finally got the deal done. Just looking at both these guys' records, they both are more than capable of knocking guys out, getting those necessary points at the tail end. But like you said, I don't think this is going to decision. I think these guys want to give a show. They want to give a show for the sport of boxing. It's just, somebody has to get knocked out. This is not a decision fight. Yeah. This is not Mayweather and Manny Pacquiao. This is not going to 12th round. These guys are not trying to play prolific defense. These guys are trying to knock their heads off. So I think that's exactly what we're going to get when you have these heavy hitters type fighters going against each other. They're going to try to make a show, and they're going to try to knock each other's heads off. And that's what you want in boxing these days, because boxing is not the same.
It's not the same at all, man. It's not the same. We're having to get we're having to get these fights like this year especially, and even last year, obviously getting to Gervonta Davis and Ryan Garcia fight was major, because that would have been in the works for a couple of years, and then this fight, we're finally starting to get those like top tier fights again. But like you said, we don't want this to be it. We want this to keep going. And looking at the landscape of boxing, like in terms of just like who's the best boxer right now, like who would you say is that guy? Like obviously Canelo is still um, elite at what he's doing. He did have that loss recently against Dimitri Bivol, but it was in a different weight
Yeah.
class than he's used to. And Garcia, Tank, like they're still in that rank of trying to get to that top spot. Obviously, with what Gervonta Davis did, he's still undefeated. Devin Haney had a
Mhm.
win against Lomachenko. Like, who do you is that top guy? And it may be one of these guys, Crawford or Errol Spence.
It's the Gypsy King. That's the best boxer right now. It's him. Just giving the story that he's come back and then he's taken over the heavyweight reign. Now he's fighting guys like the new fight he's about to have because he's beat everybody in boxing. Nobody wants to fight him.
Mm.
The guy came from UFC. Uh, forgot his name. Uh, got he didn't get signed to UFC anymore, and he went over. Now I think
Yeah,
I
forgot his name.
who hits like Mike Tyson, big tall guy. I can't remember his name. His face is in my head, looks like a upside down owl. I
What a description.
But his name escapes me. It's crazy. I love MMA. Oh my god. But I think he's the best boxer. Just he looks like he's not a boxer. He looks like he's supposed to just be a farmer or something. But Gypsy King is the best boxer. He's have every intangible things. He fights unorthodox. He moves extremely swiftly and quick for be a big guy. Has that knockout punch. Has that not give up factor as we saw with Deontay Wilder, him getting crushed with a crazy blow and then outboxing him the rest of the match to go to the decision. So I think Gypsy King is the best boxer right now, hands down. Just the amount of things he had to overcome and then
So
come
much.
back and just destroy the heavyweight. Yeah, he's to me, he's the best boxer. To me. I don't know how you feel, but to me, that's Gypsy King is the best boxer.
And that's a great point because of how much he's had to overcome. Like to me, like Crawford is still that guy until he loses. I want to say Canelo, but that loss against Dimitri Bivol, like that takes him down a notch because of the fact that
Yeah.
he has to go for that rematch if he want. And we're literally about to talk about what's the next big fight for Canelo because he kind of is that
Right.
household name now. On outside of Bivol, the only loss he had was to Floyd, and I mean everybody lost to Floyd. I mean like that's nothing to really nitpick at, but to you, like, do you feel as though the Dimitri Bivol rematch is like the main one? Because I feel as though like that's probably the next big fight he's got to like go after again to really kind of move forward.
I don't think so because he's still a big name in multiple weight classes. I think you have to for him. Yeah, he had that loss. He looked terrible. He didn't look like himself. I don't think anybody's going to hold him against him too much because outside of that loss, it's you know so I don't think he should do that rematch. It's not a Triple G type vibe. Now, if it was something on that on the in those terms, then yes, rematch. But I think if he rematches, he's going to destroy him, and that would be a waste of his time because he's not in his prime anymore. So I don't want you don't
Yeah,
want to waste those years on a fluke. You like okay, you got it, you won. If I fight you again, I'm gonna kill you. So I don't want to waste my time. I think fighting him again would be a pride thing. So it's a bunch of guys out here that he could fight. Edgar Berlanga, I think, is one that promotionally looks well would do fine in pay per view because he has a relationship with both promotional companies. I think he has a fight, yeah, June 24th against Jason Quigley. And I think that'll be a good fight for him. I think they match up decently well. We'll see what he does in the Jason fight, but I think that fight would be a pay per view success, not a nightmare. Because pay per view right now is not as a
it's not what
luxury
it
as it
once
was when
was.
Floyd Mayweather
Yeah,
was. Yeah. So now you have to get a fight that two promotional companies work well with each other. They'll fish out a deal. It'll be do well in the pay per view. They fight. I think they line up perfectly. And then he'll have a fight June 24th. Well, no, June 24th for next year, I believe,
Yeah, next year.
because he's
Yeah.
been out, I think, for a year or so. So he'll fight him next year, and then he'll be able to see if he can fight Canelo. I think that matches up really well, just because of promotional, because that's what it basically is now in boxing. Does the numbers match up? It's just not if the boxing matches up anymore. It's what's the numbers look like?
Yep.
What are the parameters of the box? Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Definitely. And now getting into the NBA and summer league, and just kind of thoughts on Keyonte George's performances for the Jazz. He had a really impressive few games, scoring 33 in his Las Vegas debut. Went 10 of 10 from the free throw line when he's struggling from the outside, and really looks like he can be Utah's primary ball handler in the future. Like, what are your thoughts on how he's doing, on how he did for Utah? Because like that's a really bright spot for Utah and what they're kind of going to do going forward.
Yo, guy looks really good, really, really good. I felt that he was going to take a minute to be able to like get into the swing of things, but yo, he's been cooking. I think the game, couple games, I think it was against either the Kings. He had 33 points, 10 assists. Like he has that I'll take over mentality, but he also has that facilitation mentality as well. And I think you're going to definitely need it as a role player trying to get on either the starter role or come off the bench. So I think he's showing what he can do if let off the leash. But I also think he's showing that, hey, I can be a role player. I can facilitate when possible, and I can play good defense. So the kid surprised me. I thought it was going to take him a while. Coming from Baylor, I thought it will take him, transition to playing with Utah, and I think that's exactly what Utah needs right now. They need a type of guy like that. And then if he gets into the starter role, they need to unleash him. Unleash him. Let him play.
Sure.
Let the guy play.
Don't hold him back.
They haven't been the same, man.
Yeah.
We don't like load management.
We don't. We're not on this. Not on this podcast. But now getting to Cam Whitmore, just impressive play for the Rockets. Any questions that were surrounding him before put to rest? He averaged 19.3 points, 5.2 rebounds, and 2.3 assists over 6 games. And even though he's ball dominant most of the time, he can still be an effective playmaker. He really just was dominant throughout the summer league. Really made his presence known. Was aggressive, and I feel as though, just like how we said for Utah, with what Houston's doing in terms of bringing on Fred VanVleet, Dylan Brooks, they're shifting to a different mode in a different era, and I feel as though he's going to be one of those key young guys to really help them in what they're trying to do going forward. Like what stood out to you in terms of his production in summer league?
I think he had a chip on his shoulder. Being drafted, number 20, fall into number 20. A lot of guys went out, excuse me, before him that I thought that was not better than him, but it was a better situation for the organization. So now I think he has a chip on his shoulder. He's going to a team that's, oh my gosh, unseasoned.
That's the perfect word.
Got a lot of, they spent a, undisciplined too, man. They're very undisciplined, but I think he can help change the culture there. And I think Dylan Brooks, Fred VanVleet can also change the culture, but I don't know. VanVleet, my teeth won't let me form words today.
No, you're good, man.
You have to point it out, brother. But on my head top, aren't you? Aren't you? But no, I think he has a chip on his shoulder.
My name.
You know. But I do think he has the chance to win Rookie of the Year. I think he's that good. He's shown that he's that good, and he can help change the culture there. Hopefully, these guys get around each other, gel up. These veteran players and Fred VanVleet. See, look at my teeth that won't let me open. Fred VanVleet, Dylan Brooks, all these veteran guys who have experience going to the postseason can get these guys together, get them focused because they have raw talent that has not been tapped into yet. It just needs direction and discipline, and they need to be seasoned. And I think he can help do that, even coming being a rookie. I think he was that good this summer.
Yeah, and I mean, like, also when you look at Emi Udoka being the coach there, and he brought like a defensive mentality to Houston. I mean to
Mm-hmm.
Boston when he was
Mm-hmm.
there and brought them to the finals. Now to Houston, he's going to try to do the same thing. Like, do you think it's going to be one of those things where maybe, obviously, like this is a team that doesn't have the same amount of talent as other teams in the West right now, but do you think it could be one of
Right.
those teams where, like, hey, like let's gain a defensive identity before we try to get to that like elite spot when we're really years away from having that same amount of talent as other teams do?
Absolutely. And I think that's what he did with the Celtics. Even with the amazing talent he had there, I think it was more so defense. You look at Marcus Smarts. Marcus Smarts elevated himself while he was there.
Yes.
That's when Marcus Smarts became a full all-around point guard
Oh
when
yeah.
he was at the head coach reign. Sorry. And so him going to a team that's undisciplined, don't like they're just loose cannons. John Wall said it himself. We got a deeper insight when John Wall did that interview. So him going there, he has to change that culture. It has to be defense and it has to be team oriented. So I think he can do it. If anybody can go there and do it, I think he can. And then being able to have those certain veteran guys that have been in the postseason, have that experience will help out too and be that voice. But I do think they'll listen to him because he has that experience. Look what I did for the Celtics. Look, look at my resume, what I've done. That we can do that. Look at all the talent they have in Houston that has not gelled yet because they don't have the right leadership. And I think he's the right leadership.
Yeah, definitely. And before we move on, Draymond was recently on Patrick Beverly's podcast talking about the Jordan Poole. All these like podcasts are now becoming just like gossip sessions in a sense because like Draymond was like, yeah, like honestly, if I'm ever gonna punch somebody in the face, it's not just gonna be just because of one situation. It's gonna be a build up. And then Jordan
Yeah.
Poole's dad was like, if I
Yep.
saw him today, I would punch him in the face. Like he just straight up said it. Like, and it's
Somebody, you was
interesting. Like
avoiding me all year.
exactly. Like what do you think of like when these players move to different situations? We always hear a different story after they're gone. Like throughout the season, it's going to be like, oh, like everything's good. We're going to keep it moving. Like what did you think about just the aftermath of the Draymond Jordan Poole situation and just how much that had an effect on Jordan Poole eventually leaving?
That's the time. Damian Lillard said it as well in a couple of interviews that he didn't like Jordan Poole because Jordan Poole, like one game, he was just talking like, bro, like you hit 1 3 against me and just start going bananas, going crazy, talking outside your neck. So I understood that's a buildup because you're a young kid. I know you trying to set the tone, make yourself known, say things, but after a while you have to back up what you say. And daddy's not going to be there to save you. And I do think it's an accumulation of things because Draymond is not the type of guy to just swing on you just because. Because if
Right.
you look at that
Got to be a
video,
reason.
remember the video? Yeah, he walked away, then turned around.
Hmm.
So it had to be something really crazy for him to say, for him to go back and just not even wait to put his setup, just knock him out. He knocked Jordan Poole out. Jordan Poole got knocked out.
Down for the count.
Hey, hey, no. You want something too, old man? No. What you think
No.
you gonna do? Your son got knocked out. What you gonna do? You about 55. Get out of here. That's crazy. So when Damian Lillard came out with his story, it just kind of aligned like, yeah, Jordan Poole talks a lot of crap that he does not back up.
Yeah. Jordan
So
Poole was the
there's
problem in the
consequences and
situation.
repercussions. Did he? Yes, for sure.
Definitely.
Hope he doesn't go over there thinking he could do the same thing because, you know, you in DC, brother. Some of them boys real
Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah.
Some
Some
of
of
them
them were
from
really
DC.
crazy.
So
This isn't West Coast.
right, we're not gonna give you. They ain't gonna give you no chances to keep talking, bro.
Yeah.
Shut up for something happen. You
Hmm.
think Draymond did you dirty? That's exactly what I would say. You think Draymond did you dirty? Keep talking. That's
Yeah.
exactly what I would say.
Definitely.
But that's crazy. Talking about, and then good.
No, no, I'm just saying that was a crazy story, and the aftermath. Like y'all are really keeping this going.
Yes, bro. And then his dad was like, and then I think Draymond responded, was like, bro, how can I dodge you for an entire year when I have to go get my family out the room where you at?
Hmm. The stories don't align. They don't
It
align
does
at
not
all.
lie. Just talking. Just talking.
Yeah, definitely. And now I'll get into our first album review with Mahalia's IRL. In her second album, it contains slick neo soul R&B, and she's in a very confident state with the addition of big name performances. She shows in this project more than ever that she's a star. She's star enough to hold her own in certain aspects. And to me, like I
Mm-hmm.
like this project because the second half of it, I think she even went more into the vintage sound that she's into. The first half had good tracks as well. I thought this was a solid sophomore album, and I think it was a good like maturity display of where she's at in her career now. Obviously, we like her a lot on
Yeah.
this show, what she does. What did you think about this album overall, and just how she followed up her first project?
I'm glad you said that because she's young. She's not. I don't think she's older than 25. I think she's below 25. So to be able to hone your sound this quickly in a lengthy project, it's 19 songs. It's pretty long, but I do think the second half was better than the first half. The first half did have some great tracks, but I think her
So glad we thought
sound
the
was
same thing.
implemented even
I'm
more
so
the
glad we
second
thought the
half.
same thing.
Yeah, yeah. The second half was very strong. I think that's really great for her to be able to have because first half of an album can be so crazy, and then the second half be like, you should have probably mixed the songs around to make it a full to make it everything strong. But I
Just flip
think
this time.
you can have yeah, you can have that first half to be like, okay, this is cool, and then after halftime, let's get to it. So I think that's really dope for her to be able to do that. But I do think it's a solid project. I think I didn't expect JoJo to be on here. Um,
I was not expecting
Stormzy
that.
was a decent feature. Yeah, me neither. Stormzy was a good feature. Every time I hear Stormzy, I just it's just funny to me. I don't like why he raps. I don't know, bro, because he's from over there, and it's just always interesting. He's a funny dude, but Stormzy he got bars, and then yeah, there's some good tracks. What's Up was a good track. Lose Lose was definitely a good track.
Lose
I
was
like Manny
amazing.
Petty. Yes, it was crazy, man.
Lose was
So
good.
yeah, I think
This
she
was
has
13. This was 13 tracks, so
some
it
high
wasn't
points.
concise. This was 13 tracks, so it was concise.
Oh, I'm looking at the deluxe. I say the
My
deluxe.
bad.
Sorry.
Yeah, yeah,
The
yeah.
deluxe has 19
That
songs.
added
Dang,
on to
Wellington,
it.
you keep calling me
No,
out.
I was just no. I was just saying I wanted to. We love concise albums, and Mahalia she followed up on what we like. I just wanted it to let the listeners know she followed
That,
the full
nah.
scope pattern, of
Wellington out to
concise
get me.
albums.
Nah, Wellington out to get me, y'all. He
Let me start this
this
narrative.
podcast, he's out to get me, guys. Don't start this narrative. Sorry, 13 songs. I'm looking at the deluxe album. It's 13 songs. It's precise. She's in the confines of full scope podcast criteria.
It's it.
Can't be that lengthy. The deluxe. I'm sorry.
Look, after the pink tape, we love after 26 songs with two bonus tracks.
That's
Come
crazy,
on now.
bro.
We will take 13 songs any day of the week. But yeah, Lose was amazing to me. Um, like
Yeah.
overall, were there any other tracks that you feel as though just were main go tos or ones that like, hey, I got to run that back again?
Manny Petty was really dope, and I may be looking at the deluxe. I listened to the deluxe. I didn't see the other one when I went on Apple Music, but Hey Stranger. Well, I think I like that one. That was a nice one. Um, Terms and Conditions really, I think, was underrated
It
for
sounded
some
better because
reason. Terms and
that was a single before,
yeah,
and within the album, it sounded a
hmm
lot better.
yeah, it fit right, snugged in that little third spot right between. So that's what I'm saying. If you know it's not a single song, don't drop it as a single. It strengthens it on the album, and I think that's why I say it's underrated now because it made the first half of the album really, 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 really strong.
Yeah, for
And I
sure.
love her placement of songs too. I love her placement of songs in this album. But yeah,
Definitely.
but West Combs I think was the best one. Lose Lose was the best song on this album.
That's the one. That's certain songs you just hear and you're like, that's the
Yeah,
one. That was the one, definitely. And
you
now
don't
getting
skip it because
don't at
yeah.
all. Don't at all. That's just one you just run back to. I literally repeated that one like 2 or 3 times. I was like, I just couldn't get off of that one. That one was amazing. And now getting to our next review with Alayna's self-portrait of a woman unraveling. In her debut album, she discusses her journey inward and her lyrical and melodic skills show her songwriting capabilities. Soul and R&B was the genre for this one that she tries to tap into, and there's our main sound. There's soft beds of sense and emotional sensitivity, and this is a as a debut album. This is a really interesting one because you're really kind of it feels like more of storytelling within the songs and her trying to bring people onto her journey. What were your thoughts on this album as a debut and what she can do going forward?
Yeah, I definitely love her sound. There's a similar artist who's not as big as her named Sam Lynch. It is more like a folk tale type of vibe. But I think her mastering is a bit different. Her voice is slightly different, but I love that folk tale storytelling, really taking your time. I think that style of music has declined over the years because obviously the demand of different music or certain type of music is at all time high. But I love that folk talky. I used to listen to Bob Dylan in college. You know, I know that might be weird, but Bob Dylan, I used to listen to his music all the time in college, and I love that type of vibe. And she with this album was no, I don't think it was an album, was it? It was more,
It was an
yeah,
album.
you could call it that. Yeah, it was an album. Yeah, and I thought, yo, this is something you play. You don't think about anything at the moment, and then once you're like done what you're doing, and you just sit there, and it takes you
Yes,
on a journey.
that's the
Because
perfect
I was
description.
like, exactly. Like I think I listened to this going to different while I was in work because I travel, go to different places, do home visits or whatever. And then I stopped driving, I pulled over and I was just looking at my notes or whatever, and I just started hearing it. I was like, oh my gosh.
That's literally how I listened
This
to
is
it on a drive,
okay.
on it while I was driving. That's literally how I did.
Yeah, this is dope. Yeah, she's
Yeah.
she's she's amazing, bro. Her voice is crazy. And yeah, this was self portrait of a woman unraveling. What a freaking name,
What a
man.
title! What a
That
title, bro!
yeah,
The creativity of
that
the
what got
title as
me.
well. I just love when artists
Yes.
even put effort into just the title of their album.
Just in the picture. It's so crazy. It has I feel like it has so many meanings because the
Yes,
blurred it's a self portrait of an unraveling, so you don't get the full features or whatever because she doesn't even know who she.
just
Come
come
on,
on now,
brother.
come on now,
Hey,
come
yeah.
on,
Wellington, I
bro.
don't know where you found her. I don't know where you found her, Wellington, but good job. I haven't given you one of these in a minute. Good job,
Hand
man.
clap.
Even though you try to take my head today on my head top.
Not on the head top. Not on the head top. Not on the head top. Not on the mandem.
Don't start that narrative.
Man, but this was when I was nervous. I didn't know if you were gonna like this one because I was like, Savon. I don't know if Savon's ever heard of her. So this was a bit of a risk, but I'm glad. I'm definitely glad you like this one, bro. I really like the concept, the identity of it, and just her storytelling. Like this was really good driving music as well.
Yeah, yeah. I like this type of music. It's not as much saved, but there's like three or four artists I listen to that has that same feel.
Yeah,
Because at some points I listen to this like when I write, when I'm just like doing miscellaneous stuff. But most of the time I listen to when I write because it gives me like inspiration to be able to either poetry or in a journal or anything. I think it kind of ignites creativity in me because it helps me tell the story like they're telling the story. But
yeah,
anyway.
man, definitely. And now getting to our next review with Coco Jones and Justin Timberlake's ICU remix. In this newly released remix, there was a great level of chemistry as the new harmonic choices for the track highlight the texture of both singers' voices, but still showcases the depth of Coco's voice. this is just one of those songs that it just like it's almost like how SZA had a couple songs from Control several years ago that just Love Galore and The Weeknd that just had everybody just in a chokehold. You would listen to it whenever it was on. To me, this is just one of those songs. Every time it's on, I'm like, I'm gonna play it. I'm gonna keep listening. Then you add a legend like Justin Timberlake to it. I thought that was just a really interesting mix of voices. Like, what did you think about this remix and how it sounded?
Don't kill me, everybody. I don't like this. I didn't like the original one. I don't like this one.
Really?
Yeah.
Did we ever review her
I'm
her
not a
her
fan.
her EP? I don't think we.
No, I'm not. I'm not a fan of her.
Okay. I'm pretty
I don't
sure we
think her.
reviewed
I don't
it.
think her
I'm pretty
music
sure.
is good.
I gotta go back and
Maybe,
gotta go back to the archives.
maybe I don't remember, but yeah, yeah, go back to. I don't. Yeah, I'm not a fan. I'm not a fan of this. Um, it was more harmon more harmonizing than song, which is cool in some aspects, but it just I don't know, it just didn't do anything for me. And even when adding Justin Timberlake in there, I just didn't. Yeah, I don't think this is a single song to me. I don't think
Album
it's a single
song.
song. I don't think the original.
This is gonna
Yeah,
get
it's
a
an
lot of
album
radio
song.
play. It's gonna get a
It's
lot
the
of radio play though. It's
yeah,
gonna
because it's Justin Timberlake who doesn't sing anymore and charges $1 million to
for a
perform.
feature.
Of course, it's gonna free. Nah, no, not for a feature, to perform. He charges $1 million to do a set of 30 minutes.
Man,
Yeah, bro, it's
yeah,
crazy.
yeah.
He's that.
He's up
He's
there.
up
Yeah,
there like that. He can
yeah,
charge $1 million.
yeah. It's at that echelon with JT. It's at that with him. He's not just
Yeah,
doing he's
yeah.
not doing any charity work. He's not doing any charity work for y'all.
He must have really liked this song to come out and hop on this, which is cool. Like obviously a lot of people like this song. Obviously get a lot of radio play, but I think this is like a end of a project song. Like this is the last song
A
on the
closer.
album
That's a good
or
point.
EP.
Yeah, a closer.
Closer track. This
Yeah.
is a closer track. I'm not ready to close. I don't want to closing time. I'm not ready to hear that just yet.
Yeah.
I'm not. Wellington, go
You gotta
ahead and
hear. You gotta
laugh, bro.
hear.
Come
What's
on,
that?
laugh. Come on, laugh, bro. You was like this. You go ahead. You know you wanted to laugh. Closing time. That's come on. Give me my prop.
I'm gonna give it to you. But I'm just stunned you didn't like this. Because I literally remember us reviewing this EP and you said you liked it a lot. Then I'm like having to think back. Maybe this was the song you said you didn't like because you said there were a couple songs you didn't like from this. But I
I
guess
said I
this
like
was,
Coco.
you said you liked the EP she put out, but maybe this was one
Yeah,
of
we
the
got to
tracks
go to
that.
the
But
archives.
yeah, definitely have to go to the archives because we review a lot of music.
Yeah, I don't remember that.
But it just didn't do it for you. It just for you, not a single song,
No,
not
like
a single song.
not a single song. Enter the project track. It was a lot. It was too much harmonizing. It wasn't no context. It wasn't. It was just like it was. It was nothing. It was just emptiness. It was like in an abyss. Just a lot of nothing. Just in outer space. There's nothing for me to gravitate to in this song.
Not
To
enough
me,
substance.
because I listened to it twice. Yeah, it was not enough substance. It's nothing for me to gravitate to. Like the harmonizing was it was really dope. But for me, if I'm listening to a track and I think it's really, really great, it checks a lot of boxes. And this song for me didn't check a lot of boxes. And obviously, if you listen to the podcast, you know what boxes we're talking about. So I have to get back into that. So if you don't listen to the podcast, bro,
bro,
bro.
bro. And now getting into our next review of Currency and Harry Fraud's Vices. In this new project, Harry Fraud gives hard and antique production and rich samples. The Miami Vice soundtrack serves as the inspiration overall, and Currency executed this as just a high level and understood what flows need to be brought on these types of tracks. Currency to me is just on a run right now. Like anything he puts out, it's
I was
gonna
just about to
work.
say that.
He's just on a run right now. He's in his lane. He's definitely in his lane. He's just flowing. He's putting out music at a rapid rate, and I like this project a lot thoroughly. I feel as though the features on here fit it, and if you're trying to have a Miami type of sound to this, it sounds like a project you would hear in Miami. It has the Miami Vice feel too. I just thought it was really good music,
Hmm.
lyricism, and it just was it was just top tier a type of project.
Oh yeah, and you look at the features, dope features. Got Benny on there, Jim Jones. Yeah, I really like Jim Jones' verse. Larry June gave an amazing verse for Marble Columns. GT, I never knew who Rome Street is, but he started listening to more of his music because of that track. So yeah, this is really, man, he's underrated. He's on a run, like you said. No Jay-Z, Beyonce on a run too. Uh
Man, he's batting 1,000. Say what else.
Yeah, bro. He cannot miss, man. Right now, he's in a nice groove. And I
He
hope
is.
people start to recognize how great of a rapper he is and
Listen
lyricist
to him
he is.
more
Because, like you said, this definitely sounds like Miami, which is crazy because he's not from
at
Miami. To be able to
all.
duplicate that sound is bananas. BANA.
It's like
Yes.
asking. It's like asking an
But
East
yeah,
Coast rapper. It's like asking an East Coast rapper, "Hey, can you make like a West Coast album?"
they can't do
They
it.
can't do it.
You imagine E40 trying to rap like you from New York? I can't imagine it, bro. He can't do it. But nah, this was underrated, bro. Underrated, and it's 9 tracks, Wellington.
Amazing, amazing. I
Concise.
saw a tweet a couple weeks ago about how can we bring back the 9 track albums? You know what I mean? Like, because that used to be a thing. That actually used to be a thing where
Yes.
it was just 9 tracks and all
Yes.
of them are really good, and you kept playing it for months.
I think, let me pose a question. Do you think the albums are longer because of labels not able to making them not be able to drop music, or are artists less creative than back in the day to do 9 songs?
I think it's the creativity. I don't think the creativity is at the obviously the label that affects it, but I think the creativity is diminished,
Yeah.
and they're having to use those filler tracks. They're having to, hey, like, let's manipulate
Yeah.
the streams. Let's add different types of songs where we're not giving our full effort, and it's gonna be a casual type song, but it's not the best of what we can do.
This is why Wellington gets paid the big bucks. Did you hear that answer? Come on, don't play with Willow like that.
Don't play
Great
with
answer,
Wello.
bro. That's exactly what I was. Yeah, that's exactly what I was looking for. Spot on, bro.
It's just
Artists
so
are less
obvious.
creative.
It's just so obvious. We're
Yeah,
not seeing that same effort and passion. Like, hey, the 9 tracks I put out, it's all gonna be heat. We don't get that anymore.
yeah. No, like, bro, I don't understand. Like, now we get 20, 30, 40. This ain't a mixtape, bro. This your album.
Yeah,
So you got to be concise. Give us you if you can't be creative in 9 to 15 songs, bro, then you
you
shouldn't
don't
do
really need to put out
this.
an album. You don't really need to.
You don't go mixtape route. Just drop mixtapes if you want to drop 30, 40 songs.
Yeah, the albums used to mean a lot. Honestly, it used to be like albums are so
Yes,
casual now, but an album used to really mean like, hey, this is serious. This is a serious attempt. Like this shows who I am as an artist and that people can take me serious.
exactly. If we had like if we were on like a huge stage like Joe Budden and all those guys, I would like. Dang, I can't even think of the word.
Put a symbol something like a symbol
Challenge,
challenge. Okay, yeah, yeah,
challenge, challenge.
yeah.
Thank you. I would challenge artists to do albums in 9 to 15 songs. Be concise, be creative. How, you know what I mean? Because we had this conversation about doing verses to old school and new
Yeah.
school, and that we pose that too. So if we were on that stage like Joe Budden and them, I would challenge artists to do a 9 album song and give it your best, be creative. How many artists do you think would probably answer that call?
There's no way.
I'm going to give you the answer.
Yes.
Zero.
It's zero.
Zero.
It's zero, man.
That's
Yeah. They're like,
crazy.
in this era with streaming, no.
No,
They're
we
like, we're
can't
not
do
doing
that.
that.
We
We're
need
not doing
more.
that. And now getting to our next a review with Conway the Machine's drum work, the album. In this new compilation, the album includes 12 tracks that highlights the incredible team of artists Conway signed to his label. It's just got great soulful beats, solid lyricism, and great features from the drum work members. Um, Conway's another guy that we're both fans of, and I think this compilation, it has a lot of these artists to me are just really going for it in all of these tracks, and the beat selection, and I think is really solid, concise, a 12 track type of album as well. What did you think about this album and just the compilation feature of it?
Solid album. When I saw D Smoke on one of the tracks, I was like, oh, they got D Smoke. Okay. I think D Smoke is one of those underrated rappers too, who actually, won the rhythm and flow, whose brothers with Sir, Mom
Yeah.
toured with everybody and everybody. And he doesn't get a lot of recognition anymore now. But I think he's such a dope rapper, such a dope artist. But yeah, I thought it was very solid. The beat selection was amazing, and then you got the features. Some of these guys I haven't heard of. You get to hear them, the different styles of their writing and rapping. I really enjoyed this, and 13 songs, Wellington,
Yes.
concise in there. I think every song played into each other. It was smooth. You can tell these guys have been around each other for a period of time because they gel so well, and all their voices and cadences that match up on the beats, and just they know how to coexist on tracks. It's similar to, I want to say, G Unit, because all those
Hmm.
guys, I don't think one guy stood out the most, but everybody had their way of coexisting and knowing what fits the track, what the track needed. I think this is the similar way, the formula, because you can listen. Obviously, you see when somebody go into the booth, they do their track, and you're like, okay, that's what flow he did. So I'm gonna do this flow to bring this out. I hope this is what they do,
Hmm.
because that's my train of thought. But I love the way how they construct the songs, the beats again, fire. Conway Machine always have some crazy beats, and
I
I
think the
wanted
Rory
more of him
joint.
though, man.
Yeah, I think the Rory joint was uh I think Rory actually helped produce that one. The track that's called the Rory joint he helped produce, because he's friends, because obviously Conway was on Rory's album, and I
Mm-hmm.
guess they had a different, but like I said with Rory, if Rory could make a hip hop just a straight hip hop album, like assemble different rappers, like
I
because
think it'd be dope.
because a song like that, when I heard that, I was like, man, he could get into that. Obviously, the R&B album he put out was really good, but he could tap into the rap and hip hop lane as well.
Yeah, and I forgot all about that track. Yeah, Roy needed to quit playing this, drop an
He
EP,
needs
and
to
then drop an album.
again. He needs to
Yeah, test
again.
the waters with the rap. R&B was really dope. Really
Because
enjoyed
when
it.
he
But
made
I do want
that
I did
joint, I was
want
like, more Conway.
hmm. Nah, he should have had yeah, Roy should definitely do a hip hop. Not
That's
just
what I'm
thinking I'm
saying.
replaying the song in my head, replaying Roy joint in my head. Like, heck yeah. You need to go ahead and
Think about how he
produce
ended his album with Reason. He ended with a great Reason track,
yes.
and I'm like, is that? I feel as though if you can bring an artist like that, he's obviously good friends with Reason. He's got a lot of connections. I think
Mhm.
he really could put together a dope hip hop album.
Maybe that's what he's doing. Maybe he did that. Now he's on Conway's, and
Maybe
now
that
he's
last track
yeah,
from Reason was an intro to that would be dope.
yeah. That would be
Yeah,
dope. I'm all for it. But yeah, to go back to what you're saying, more Conway.
Conway.
Like all the
Yes,
artists was cool, but I listened to it
you were
because of
waiting for the
Conway.
headlining guy.
Conway's as a yeah, exactly. Because you get them in the first track, and then you don't get them until number 8, Elephant
Just
Man,
like
which was
Kanye,
a
where you
dope
been?
track. Yeah, Conway, are you not a machine? Are you sleeping, bro? Like, what's going on, man?
Come on, man. Um, and before we get to our last review, man, a lot of music is dropping tonight. Nas is dropping another album with Hit Boy. It's Magic 2. Snow Allegra is dropping a single. Um, Reason is dropping his
What?
out. Yes, she's dropping a single tonight.
No,
She's got an album.
that's crazy.
Reason is dropping his album next Friday called Porches. Bro,
Mm-hmm.
it's heating up. It's heating up again. It's heating up again. Like what are your thoughts on
You
the
better
Nas
come with
album?
it.
Yeah, what are your thoughts on the Nas album? And obviously Reason, because we've been waiting for that one a while.
We already know what Nas is gonna do. That's
He's gonna kill it.
like
We
Kobe.
know that.
Like we
Five
know
albums
what
in the
Kobe's
last
gonna
20
do
years.
every night. Come on, bro. Still relevant.
Yeah.
Mr. Relevant, bro. We already know what
Yes.
he's gonna do. It's gonna be crazy, lyricist, bars. Oh, like we already know. But Reason, his last album from to me was such a great project. He's gonna have this can't be a flop, bro. I'm gonna be upset as a flop. I'm going to be so
After a
upset
3-year wait.
because I'm a Reason fan now. Yeah, bro. Because I'm ready for him to go on tour, and I might try to catch one of those shows. But if this album flop, I'm gonna be upset.
Give us the feedback. Give us
Reason.
the
Give
feedback
me a
after
reason.
after the concert. Give us the feedback at the concert. Hey, Reason,
For,
what's up? Full scope reporter.
bro, what's going on? Full scope, bro. Full scope, bro. Let me come talk to you. But nah, I'm excited. I'm more excited about Snow though. I didn't know she was
Whoa.
dropping anything. I haven't
Yes.
seen anything on
Dropping a
Instagram.
single. Dropping a single tonight, man. I'm excited because Snow is one of our favorites. She just has a
Mm-hmm.
heavenly voice, man. Like she's great
Mm-hmm.
at whatever she puts out, man.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And you got the stamp by the Purple Man himself. And I ain't
Oh
talking
man.
about the dude from McDonald's. I'm talking about Prince, baby.
The one and only.
The one and only. Chewy. Oh my gosh.
But yeah, the new music is heating up. Nas, we already know about Nas. We already know what Nas is gonna do. He's just in his zone. Him and Hit Boy are in his zone. Like before we move on, like when you have a producer artist combination like that, do you feel as though it's one of those things where they just kind of have this understanding of like, hey, like as long as we can keep doing this, let's put out as much music as we can until the run ends.
I think with some artists it's like that. If we're such a good collaboration, then okay, let's keep doing it. But I think sometimes you have to be strategic. But I think with Nas, he's so seasoned, so he's a veteran in the game. He can do anything he wants. But if there's any other artist, you have to be precise at what you do, what you put out. Even if you have success in the past with this producer, is that sound still relevant to this day? So with Nas, he's relevant in any style, any year, any era. Nas is just one of the goats, bro.
Yep.
So he can do anything he wants. He could put out some trash, what we think is trash, and he'd still be the GOAT, one of the GOATs. So
Only
yeah,
two
I think it
features.
just depends on what type of artist.
Only two features.
Only
50,
two features?
50 Cent and 21 Savage.
I'm not a fan of
21.
21 no more, man. I'm a body catcher. That's a 21 I like. Like
Okay.
back
Yeah.
in the day, college days, 21.
He was
Now
on a
it's just like, all
different
right,
lane.
bro.
He was in a different lane.
Yeah, I'm older now. I'm not as childish as I was.
But
to
getting
listen
50
to
Cent
you.
though, but getting the
Yeah.
50 Cent feature that's going to be really interesting to see 50 and Nas on a track together.
I hope it's a bop. I hope it's not
That's
no
what I
slow
do.
track. I hope it's
Yeah,
like
don't do the slow track.
him on the hook. Yeah, I hope 50's on the hook. Some crazy bop. Like, you know what I'm saying? Just like a nice up tempo type of beat and hook 50 on the suck and give him a verse.
Oh yeah.
And I think it's gonna smack because Nas is gonna bring it regardless. But that's crazy. He put 21 Savage on the album.
Yeah. Last track.
It's the last track.
He was like, "Hey, I'm gonna give you everything you guys want." Them grab 21 Savage feature at the
Hey, smart man.
Very smart
man.
And now get into our last review with Boz and J. Cole's Passport Bros. In this new single, it has more of a feel-good vibe to it about embracing love without fear. And Boz brings in different melodies, which is a big contrast of what we're used to hearing from him with more lyrically focused tracks. Man, this track was a disappointment for me. I was more so looking forward to a Tribe and Night Shifts, Night Job song. I was not feeling this. I was not feeling this song. Maybe I was expecting something different from them. I can't get it. I tried to listen to it today again. I was like, man, maybe I missed something. It didn't do it for me, man. Tell me what you thought about it.
I think it was good to me because I didn't go into
when you see Boz and J. Cole, you're
expectations.
Like, man, this is gonna be something crazy.
Because when I listened to it, it was different. I was like, oh, okay. Because I listened to it like back to back like 4 times right before the podcast.
So good.
Like
because when you're used to that
and
vibe,
I was just like, oh, okay. I mean? And then how J. Cole came on.
Yeah.
I thought it was dope. I thought it was cool. Passport Bros is sounding like outside of the country type music. So it had that different, I feel like different, probably like Nigerian. Yeah, that fit that passport bros. But I do like now that you're thinking about if I did go into thinking about what I was expecting, I was probably expecting look at the drop top and stop playing with. I thought it was gonna be more so on that vibe. Yes. Cause night job, bro. Bro, I'm on my night job. That was such a hard track, bro. Yeah. Okay. That's why I'm glad. Okay, I'm glad I didn't get into it. Yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh, they're gonna come with something crazy. But I think listen to it probably a couple months from now, you might like it. You might get into to like it. I don't know. I saved it. Yeah, I'm gonna try to probably play it next week to see if I have the same feeling to it. But I thought it was good. I thought it was a single track. I'll give it that. It was a single track. But yeah, but now you make me think of it like I wanted them to do like a night job type vibe. But within that, I don't think they can recreate that magic of that song, bro, or something similar to that song. Cause that hmm 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 no. Yeah. And then they haven't collabed in years. So what yeah, I don't even know what that would sound like. Could they even come up with something that's remotely close? Because J. Cole hasn't been, doing features with older artists. It's all new artists, all younger, newer artists he's been doing features for. So maybe he just can't find that. I don't know. That's interesting. I don't think I even want a Drake and J. Cole collaboration, to be honest with you. Yeah. Even I would take a Kendrick and J. Cole because we haven't had that yet. We haven't had that yet. I would take that, but Drake, I think they did what they because in the morning, such a great track. Jodeci Freestyle, such a great track. They did another track together on their mixtape they had back in the day. I can't remember the song, but it was pretty cool. But if anything, I'll take a Kendrick Lamar and J. Cole track.